بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. And I'm sure you've heard the global greeting. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So we had already discussed the pagan and satanic background of Christmas, which has nothing to do, once again, with Christ, Christians, or Christianity. And now we will talk about the other holiday that is connected in this time period and why that is held separately and what is the background of this New Year celebration. So, once again, the background comes from a pagan, heathen revelry and debauchery culture where ultimately shirk leads to the worship of desires as well, making a god of your desires. And it's very interesting because, once again, where Christianity appeased and wooed these Greco-Roman background people to come into the fold of their religion, they allowed them to go ahead with all sorts of filthy and disgusting practices that they were bringing from their previous cultures. So particularly the people of Southern Europe, Southern Eastern Europe, Greece, and Rome, these ancient empires, they had their own mythology, their own cults and religious associations, and their own celebrations. They were very infamous about their celebrations. And this one relates to Bacchanalia, as called by the Romans, and Dionysia, as called by the Greeks. So essentially, the Greeks celebrated Dionysia, and the Romans adapted it as Bacchanalia. And Bacchus, or Dionysus, was actually the god of wine, freedom, intoxication, and ecstasy. So this is the god that they're worshiping. So how do you think they'd be worshiping this god? And they tied this event strongly to Saturnalia, which, as we discussed in the Christmas video, was the solstice, the winter solstice event of Rome, and this was celebrated in late December and early January. So this is where you get both Christmas and New Year's. Later, this was the god Bacchus was also given the name Liber. Liber means free or independent, liberated, not tied down to anything, not having to follow any rules or restrictions. So the Liber cult would hold these gatherings and hold these parties in secrecy. They would privately fund them with a lot of money, and the public was not supposed to know what's going on. So they were behind closed doors, behind a lot of secrecy. You could not be initiated without going through a certain process. So this was not public knowledge. And initially they started in daylight, but then they moved into the night. And when they moved into the night, that's when things got really, really crazy. Harvard and Oxford have published research, and I will quote that the nocturnal version of the Bacchanalia involved wine drinking to excess, drunkenness, and the free mingling of the sexes and classes, and rites that also involved loud music. So does all of that sound familiar? If anyone's been to a New Year's party, they know exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what's going on. So these rites don't change. These people who consider themselves non-religious or free, etc., not bound by religion, it's amazing how strongly they hold on to, for dear life, to these ancient rituals. How dedicated and committed they are to this all those rituals and rites and customs that come from these ancient pagan religions. And they preach being liberal, but at the same time, their the most the word is they're most radically dogmatic about their own customs. Livius was a famous Roman historian, and he gives an extremely colorful account of Bacchanalia with frenzied rites, orgies, sexually violent initiations of both sexes, boys and girls, of all ages and all social classes. He represents the cult as a murderous instrument of conspiracy against the state. Of course, there are some political leanings. Livius claims that the 7,000 cult leaders and followers were arrested and that most of them were executed. Livius believed the Bacchanalia scandal to be one of the several indications of Rome's inexorable moral decay. So even their own people understood this as extreme moral decay, which we are still holding on to with New Year's parties. Often, if you look at art portraying Bacchanalia or Saturnalia or Dionysia, any of these celebrations, you'll see a lot of nudity in the art. You'll see a lot of multiple people engaging in extremely disgusting acts with multiple people. So once again, we always come down to the worship of desires as being the central theme. And if we want to liberate ourselves, then we have to liberate ourselves from these pagan rituals that demand us to act like animals, spend money, throw it around whimsically, instead of doing good to the world, just worshipping your desires. So again, I request that we all abandon these rituals, and also watch out for our children. Talk to our children about this. Talk to our friends. Share this video, and like the video as well. Subscribe to the channel so that we can share more of this sort of knowledge with you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.